My name is Jasjit Singh, and I work at DATAWIND, and I'm here to share my thoughts. What we are trying to do. I think all of you must be following the Aegis saga in the media, so you have some idea about where things are going. But I'm here to share with you some of the things that are happening behind the scenes. So, quick introduction on DATAWIND. Before we came into the news because of the Aegis tablet. It's primarily we were working in the North American and European market, making internet access devices, and the key there was we would provide hardware as well as offer free internet plans. So that's where we were before we developed the UV tablet, which became the Aegis tablet, and we went down this route. Mostly we have about a team of about 120 people based in R&D is based in Montreal. That's the biggest component. Logistics and sales support is based here in Amritsar. We have a sales officer in Delhi. We have some finance and sales people in Europe as well. So that's the overall geographic distribution. This is our the romantic vision, that we want to get to, and our strong faith is, based on our experience so far, good or bad, is that we don't think it's romantic anymore. The time for this idea has come to make internet relevant in the lives of people, at the bottom rung of the social strata. So that's what we really want to get to. If you look at, over the past decade, the growth of internet versus cell phones, there's a big 3 billion person gap. And that's the gap that we are trying to focus. So internet has grown exponentially. Cell phones have grown exponentially. Internet has not grown. And the reasons for that, primarily one, affordability, number one. It's still really expensive to get to the internet, to have internet access. There was a survey done recently, the numbers are at the bottom. You have 900 million mobile phone connections in India right now. And they did a survey saying, there are 100 million internet users, and they defined that as once per month. And then it's 48 million, who are using every other day. So there's almost a 850 million person gap. People who have cell phones, have mobile connections, but do not have access to internet. So that's the gap that we want to plug. Besides the full affordability, the next thing is lack of infrastructure. Still, congested networks. So, despite all the talk about 3G and Wi-Fi and broadband, most of the developing world is still on GPRS networks. So, if you really want to reach that market segment, you need to enable technology and solutions that you're able to deliver internet in a viable way over GPRS networks, and that hasn't happened till now. And the key thing here is, the magic mix that we talk about here is the reason where DATAWIND becomes important is that we are able to do that based on our patented technology. We are able to deliver a rich experience over GPRS networks, very comparable to the 3G networks or even the Wi-Fi in some instances. And I'll just share with you exactly how that works. So if let's say you go on any web page, ndtv.com, you're browsing it. So the normal way is, it goes to the NDTV web server, fetches that page and it's delivered on your, browser, on your mobile device. The way we work is every call from the mobile device is sent to our server. Our servers, DATAWIND servers, then fetch that page from ndtv.com. We compress that page by 10x to 30x and then send it to the user's device. And it's done in a way that for the end user, he doesn't even feel the difference. So the amount of data that is going to and fro is less. So it costs less. So less footprint on the bandwidth. And that's how this whole solution, becomes viable. And the processing, the whole load of burden of processing power and memory is shifted onto backend servers. So you are able to deliver, rich experience even with low-cost processors and memory. So that's where the key is. So when people call, cheap device, the processor is low, what they're missing is this piece. There's a lot of focus on price, but again, if you really want to develop a solution, you need an ideal balance of performance, affordability, as well as usability. And and that's what we're trying to focus on. So you need an ecosystem of devices. Devices just, the whole focus is on device, but it's just one piece of the equation. You need accessories, content, applications, and all this stuff. I'm just gonna touch quickly on these. So this is just overview of the partner ecosystem. We have telecom operators, content folks, and I'll just pick one or two here, where I think is something really unique. So there's a company called Reverie here. In India, especially if the target demographic that we are trying to reach, language is a big issue. People don't know English, and the whole content world is primarily based in English. So what we are doing is doing an OS level, operating system level integration with 13 major Indian languages, Tamil, Telugu, Punjabi, Gujarati, Kashmiri, all the major languages. So a farmer in Gujarat would be able to use the device without knowing a single word of English. Even the menu options will be in Gujarati text, and he'll be able to do that. So that's one of the key focus here. So there's so many content here. So it's all the CBSE, NCRT, school textbooks, all that content will be here free. There's a program by HRD Ministry called Sakshat NME ICT program. So they are developing a lot of e-learning content, and it's been going on for the last few years. So there's a big database sitting out there, but they don't have a delivery platform for that. So we are working with them to make sure it's compatible here, so that all the content that they have developed, all the lectures and e-learning programs, we are able to deliver through this device. Another thing I want to mention here is from business model perspective. All good content out there is currently paid. So, and the target audience that we are going after, one, doesn't have the ability to pay, two, doesn't have a mechanism to pay. So one principle that we have been following is that all the content that we'll be offering on the device will be free. But how do you make that possible? So we have finalized the ad supported model. Currently it doesn't work if the numbers are low, but given the scale that we are talking about, so we are building that infrastructure. So Yahoo, InMobi, the big ad networks are on board. So they have special sales teams now who will be going out, and the idea is that all the premium content that's available out there in the market, we are talking to all of those vendors, whatever is currently existing, and offering that for free on the tablet in an ad supported model, which is making sense to them given the scale that we are talking about. So that's the key thing I wanted to point out here. So we are not, for revenue, we are not just dependent on the hardware margins. Hardware is just one piece of it. We'll have recurring residuals from advertising, content subscription, as well as all the so any activations that are done from the network side as well. So this makes the pie big enough, so that's why we are able to keep the device costs low. Just quickly talking about sustainability, this was one of the key things I wanted to touch. How do you make this business model, that we're trying to create sustainable? So from a device perspective, margins are basically what motivate us. For the consumer, he's getting content free of cost. It's also a phone, so he's able to make phone calls on this. Ebook reader has mirrored applications, could be used in so many different ways. Video player, just think of all the different things you can do if the video is playing. For domestic production, from the government perspective, local employment, taxes, local innovation. So everybody has, a say, that everybody has something to gain from this. For network, the network already exists. There's nothing new that needs to be built. 2G networks are out there, people are on it. And the magic is again, delivering rich internet experience, being able to do that over existing congested networks. Data costs are low because the data that's flowing through is low. Currently, we are offering less than $100, 98 rupees data plan, and the idea is that quickly as we scale, offer free unlimited internet access to everybody. And the reason we'll be able to do that is just like as I talked about, the business model, the numbers will enable us that we'll be able to take up that cost from the network operator on activation keys itself. And since the data usage will be low, it'll be manageable. Again, I think we just talked about this, zero capital investment from them. I'm just gonna move quickly from the content side. Why would content providers build content for this? So you have millions of apps for iPhone. You have millions of apps, for Android phones. 13 GB, 15 GB, 20 GB apps. Here, the idea is we are offering a platform to content providers to reach to a demographic that hasn't been reached before. Solutions for them have never been built, but we are offering them a way where they can make money as well as create content. So idea is offer a platform and then let their imagination run wild. So they can create, apps for farmers or, any marginal group in the society that's out there and still be able to make money out of that using ad-supported networks. So the result, just the idea of pushing this, the power of this idea. Last year, analysts were predicting about 2.5 lakh to about 5 lakh tablet sales, annual sales for 2012. So just pre-orders, we have almost 3.3 million individual end users pre-bookings and almost 4 million corporate orders. So the level of interest that's out there, if this product is there, if the solution is out there, is enormous. So the demand is there. It's almost 3 times analyst estimates here. These are just numbers, so it's not just India. When I say the time for this idea has come, India is just one test market. All over the developing world, the governments are realizing this, the industry is coming together, the technology is there. So we had conversations in Thailand, Turkey, where all these big orders are coming in and, it's in different stages of where the order is. I'm just focus on a couple of things from an innovation perspective. Again, I'm rushing through a lot of things, and I'll get into detail as we get into the question answer session. The innovation piece here is again the key technology that we have that enable us to do that at this cost. Without that technology, the reason it hasn't been done before because this technology did not exist. You were not able to offer internet-rich experience over GPRS networks in a way that is relevant, that people would not find cumbersome. And then the business model of not being dependent totally on hardware margins, but also including advertising model into that. And this market was said that it didn't exist earlier. That's why nobody was getting it. So this entry of DATAWIND into this, these conversations around a cost tablet has opened this new market. You see so many new tablets, low-cost tablets, trying to get into the market. And we'll talk about them, where exactly they fall. So it's almost opening the doors to creating something for the society. Market impact. Just the numbers, it's the 3 billion person gap that we are talking about, that will be the impact of something like this. Enormous press coverage all over the world, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, any newspaper, any big media outlet, they've been following this story, they have real interest into this. World Bank, we're working on a couple of projects with World Bank and United Nations, where they're trying to push these tablets into developing world on different, non-profit ventures that they're working on. International awards. So the idea is, that the impact of this idea, of this product has been enormous. Social impact, again, it's pretty clear. You are limited by your own imagination about what you can do with this. So in the education sector, e-governance, empowerment of minorities or, low-income groups. Just for UN call for apps, just wanted to highlight this. So we're working with the United Nations Office of Partnerships, where we are doing an international call for apps competition. So it's basically inviting developers to come develop apps for empowering youth and women. And then based on the submissions from all over the world, we'll be deciding winners. The idea is to create content that is not existing right now because there was no financial incentive to creating that content till now. So the whole, bridging the digital divide, that's the idea behind, whatever we're trying to do. Sustainability, I think I talked about this, the business model piece, vertical integration of manufacturing processes. So what enables us to squeeze our hardware margins as well as, we make our own, we fabricate our own touchscreen panels. So that also enables us, to push costs down. Interoperability, everything is open source, Android based. Currently work on GPRS networks. And I put USB port because I think, based on my conversations with a lot of people in India and especially in the developing world, USB port is like magic. You can plug anything into it. You can plug a keyboard, make it into a computer. You can plug a scanner. We are working with the Athar project guys. So So there's so many things. If you just have a USB port that you can plug in and use that device for that. Point of sale terminals, the biggest problem of the last mile, reach about, mobile. You don't have credit card connection, credit card transactions happening at a local Kiryana shop because the point of sale terminal is really, expensive. It's almost 10,000 rupees. So now you have a low cost point of sale terminal where you can plug in a card reader and, you can enable credit card transactions. So banks are really interested, the financial sector is interested, so a lot of those applications are coming up. So overall, we call it the perfect storm. It's the time for this has come. All these pieces coming together, working in sync, will make this happen. There are bumps on the road, but we strongly believe that we'll get there. That's about it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions.
I was present when Akash was born.
Oh, great.
A couple of years back. And I really thought, this is really something that's going to take off and change the market. But over a period of time, I thought that this is not happening. And then I started reading press reports ranging from that, it's not quite as accepted. The Saurabh could be to the other part of the spectrum saying that this is a failure, this project is a total failure. Now, what is actually the truth and why is this change around this kind of thing happen?
And that's the most asked about question, I would say. So this is it, and this has been my experience as well, my personal journey in DATAWIND, when I came along, those starry-eyed, we're going to change the world. I think the problem is setting and managing expectations. I think people do not understand the enormity of what's happening here. So, 2.5 million tablets, Sybil is, ordering. When was the last time 2.5 million any device was made, and how much time it took? So, building a product from scratch at those numbers with the system that we have was going to be a challenge. So the idea of how much time it's going to take was not set right. And media being headline hungry, they really want something quick. It's they have to. You understand the media cycle how it works. So the idea is people who are working on it have faith in it. They know it will work. It's going to take time. All the steps, everybody's moving in the right direction, and a couple of more quarters we'll start seeing the results as well. So that's my behind the scenes take on this.
I think maybe one of the key challenges that you're currently facing or that are being overcome already to fast track this deployment.
So from a company perspective, one of the first two big challenges, and this was big in media as well, was the first manufacturer that we worked with, that relationship didn't work well. So we had to, we had spent 6 months, 7 months, setting that up, bringing it up to speed, and then, we had to crash that and start all over again. That delayed the project a lot. Second was the interaction with IIT Rajasthan. And I can have an offline conversation about details, The idea is academic, way of looking at things versus the bureaucratic way of looking at things versus the corporate way of looking at things. They did not come together. So that was a challenge. So the people involved, it was just a very based on individuals involved there that this came about. But the way it has been overcome, first one, the way it has been overcome is now we have a new production facility that's up and running. We have 3 more that are coming up. On the IIT side, IIT Rajasthan was the procurement agency earlier. The government has taken the project back from them. It was given to IIT Bombay, and we are working really, really well with the team there. And we are hoping, the government will be officially launching this in the next couple of months.
Sorry, in terms of usability, user experience on the device, you highlighted some key points. Why the first version, is more prototype, you didn't really work that level of expectation. What is being done to overcome that?
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. So one thing to remember is the first Akash, what was called, was developed based on already defined specifications by the government. So the tender was out, we want a device which should have this processor, this memory, and make it, tell us how much, it would cost. That was a standard thing. So we came back saying, that this is not a really viable, you need something better. And in fact, another thing to remember is these technical specifications were set 3 years back. They were written at that time, and they had been continuing on, and by the time they saw the light of the day, it's already 3-year-old technology. So we recommended that, you need to upgrade them, but, it was okay, make this first and then, we'll talk about the next one. So the first Akash was relatively a device which had performance problems, which we expected, we told them. So the next one that is coming out, they're actually talking to us. So we are giving them prototypes of different versions of products. This is a 1.2 gigahertz processor, this is a 1.51, with a capacitive screen, see how this works, and this is going to cost this much. In 2 months, processor costs are going to come down, so, we'll be able to give it at this cost. So it's an ongoing, more interactive, more realistic way of doing things right now with IIT Bombay. So that's why the new one that's going to come out is going to be really great. That's it. Okay. Thank you for your time.